Gamers, today I have an interesting topic that came to me a couple of days ago, and I saved it for the stream because I wanted to yap about it. As you guys know, Age of Empires, all of the games, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, AON, and so on and so forth, are very much about civilizations, different styles, different maps, randomly generated maps, and so on and so forth, right? We all know that. But there was a thought that crossed my mind, and it happened when I was playing a game on Friday off of stream. I played a matchup that I didn't know how to play. And not only I didn't know how to play that matchup, I don't know how to play it on that map that I played it on. So then I tried to find that specific matchup. And that matchup was actually Malian versus Jushi Legacy. I don't remember the last time I played this. So I was like, I am not sure how the timings work out. And then I went into the tournament and I literally did this. I went like this. I tried to find Malian versus Jushi, and I went through the whole history here. And I couldn't find one Malian versus Jushi. Not only on that map, I couldn't find one match. And then I went on AoE4 World, and I was like, okay, Malian versus Jushi Legacy. Let me see if they happened recently, so I can, on any map, so I can have some reference on how those games went and what I should do. So I clicked find the match, and if you look, there wasn't a lot of games. Wait, there was more. Give me a second. Maybe the season restarted. I don't know what happened. But there was 3 games that I found in the last 2 weeks. 3 games. That's it. So I was like, okay, that's kind of crazy. So the games went on against Numedan. I ended up winning, so it worked out. I had some kind of plan and so on and so forth. But it got me thinking, after that series ended, as you guys know or may not know, another DLC is coming at the end of this year. We have never had a DLC that releases one new civ. One of the DLCs had 2 civs. Well, actually, one DLC had 2 civs, one DLC had Malian and Ottoman, and then one DLC had 6 civilizations. So it got me thinking, when the new DLC arrives, I am assuming it's going to be between 2 and 6 civilizations. I don't think it's going to be 8. I don't even think it's going to be 6. Realistically, 2, 3, maybe 4 civs are going to be released, right? Right now we have 18 civilizations in the game, and we're about to get, let's say, 3 more. We're going to have 21 civilizations in the game. So then I went, that's a lot. And in AoE 2, they have even more. They have over 40 civilizations, right? 45, I don't know how many. The difference is, from what I know, most of the civilizations in AoE 2 have the same build order, right? You open the same way. You just kind of have different bonuses. In AoE 4, all these civilizations, different build order, different build order, different build order, different build order, different. Jushi and China is somewhat similar. French and is somewhat similar. Different. All these civilizations have completely different build orders. And I'm not talking about in-depth strategies. I'm talking about first 5 minutes of the game. I'm talking on the way to feudal. All these civilizations, in 18 of them, there's about 16 different openers that you have to know. And this is not even talking about after you reach a feudal, the build order from then on, transitioning into castle, transitioning into imperial. Then we get into the nitty-gritty titty. How does Delhi versus KT work? When was the last time you've seen Delhi versus KT on a land map? When was the last time you've seen Order of the Dragon against Ivan? I don't remember, right? And I play this game for a living. So I thought, if we get 3 new civs, there's going to be 21 civilizations. That is a crazy number. And I am assuming they're also going to be having their own build orders and stuff. And I think it's getting a bit ridiculous because of how many matchups there are and how different the civilizations are, which is great. But it's like impossible at this level to know all the matchups, not as a pro, even as a casual player. So I thought about this. Already, with 18 civilizations, we have pro players. The top pro players play about 12 to 13 civs actively, I would say. And they just don't really play 5 civs. They kind of know how to play them a little bit, but they're not practicing them. So I was thinking, if Beastie plays versus Potato, and let's say there's 21 civs, 21 civs total, and I play, out of 21 civs, I play 13 civs, and he plays 13 civs. But let's say, out of those 13 civs, 8 overlap. So 8 civs are the same, right? And then 5 civs are different, 5 civs are different. If I play against that guy, we're not going to be practicing a lot of matchups and a lot of civilizations. Like, just not at all. So if there's another player that's playing a different set of civs, they will have completely different setup, practice, experience playing those things. So I go, that's going to become extremely hard to track, and not even to be good at a matchup, to have any clue what you're supposed to do in a matchup, right? Now, let's add another layer to this problem. Another layer to this problem is the fact that the last EGC tournament, for example, I use this one because that's the one which just happened, has 11 maps in the map pool. 11. If you guys don't know, this is the complete map pool in AoE 4. These are all the maps that we have had in tournaments. I'm not going to count, but that's a lot of maps, right? And some maps come back, like Dry Arabia is pretty much always there. But look at how many maps there are. That's a crazy amount of maps. Times 21 civilizations, times all the matchups that exist, is crazy. So even if you look at these maps, right? Let's say you're very good at Jushi versus French, and it plays out certain way in Carmel. Even though Carmel and let's say Dry Arabia are played similar in a way, or maybe Sunken Lands is a better example. Sunken Lands and Carmel, they both have a lot of deer, you both want a pro scout, but even though you're playing the same matchup, it's a bit different because of the map itself. And that adds another layer on top of everything that I've talked about. So my question is, how do we deal with this? Well, the amount of civilizations that are coming, I'm assuming is not going to change. Tell that to AoE 2 pros, well, all their civs are the same. So I don't know, they are playing with one civ. Basically, the problem becomes that not only the civilizations, there's so many civilizations, there's patches that are changing those civilizations. And then there's also the map pool, because this map pool we have now, it's not like it's going to be the same in the next tournament. Probably maybe 2-3 maps are going to be the same, and then the rest is going to be completely different. So the problem with this is it's actually diluting the professional level gameplay, in my opinion. Because there's too many variants, I don't mean the civs, there's too many variables in this whole thing. I think you get to see a lot of matchups where players don't know what they're doing, and these are pro players, or they just don't have as much experience in those games. Now you might say, well, that's the cool thing, because whoever is the best in the moment and whoever reacts in the moment is going to be the best. Sure, but when is it too much, right? At what point do we say, okay, something should maybe be done? So I thought, what if in the future, let's say at the end of this year, let's say next year, what if we have a standardized map pool? And it got me thinking, imagine a world where there's so many matchups, there's so many patches changing the civs, there's so many metas changing. Would it be the worst thing to have standardized map pool? So what do I mean by that? Instead of having all these maps, Dry Arabia is a standardized map. It's pretty much in every tournament. But what if we had 7 maps that are standardized? They're in every tournament. So I'll just write some random ones down. I don't mean that these should be, but what if this is what happened? The tournament can have +2 maps new every time. I think that this would help that problem quite a bit. because now you get to eliminate the very big part of all these things. Because I'll give you guys an example. There's a Steel Series tournament coming up in about 2 weeks, a LAN event, and they have Holy Island potentially coming into the map pool. Maybe they'll put some different hybrid maps and so on and so forth. And then you have to not only practice on those new maps, right? Happens every tournament. But now you suddenly have to retry the potentially new CIVs that are going to be coming out in a few months against the old CIVs. And every time there's a patch, you have to retry everything. And I think the problem isn't practicing or trying out things. The problem is the sheer volume of how much you have to do is crazy. Yeah, so that's kind of what I was thinking, and I wonder if we'll reach a point in AoE 4 where they just standardize the map pool, and potentially instead of changing or adding new maps, you know, instead of having Dry Arabia, maybe we have, I don't know, Cold Arabia that has, I don't know, cliffs or something. So it follows the same pattern of the map, but we're just adjusting the map we already know a little bit to where the playstyle doesn't completely change. Because I think we can all agree the difference between Dry Arabia and Excavation is massive. Excavation is completely unique. But if you added one point of interest to Dry Arabia, it wouldn't completely nullify what the map is about. So yeah, I kind of wonder how you guys feel about that, because it got me thinking. And like I said, let's say there's 21 CIVs at the end of this year, right? What if they add 6 more next year? Like, think long term. What if we have 6 more next year? So we go from 21 to 27 civilizations. I actually think the quality of the games at the, let's say competitive first, quality of the games at competitive level, I think will drastically go down. Drastically, because you will see, there's a chance you're going to play 100 games and you have not played half the matchups. Think about that. That's crazy. Now there's another possibility that I thought about, and I don't know if you guys like the map pool one better to reduce the RNG and variety, but what if we have these civilizations? We have English, right? KT, House of Lancaster. So I was like, let's say we have 3 new civs. So new civ. So what if the map pool changes, but a tournament happens and the organizers say, for this tournament, you cannot play the new civ number 2, you cannot play Jushi Legacy, you cannot play HRE, Delhi, Japanese, and French. And now the tournament is with these civilizations. And then the amount of matchups and the amount of complexity goes down quite a bit. Now the problem with this is very obvious. If you're a viewer and you're watching a tournament and nobody's playing your civilization, that kind of sucks, right? But at the same time, I know that's the first thing that people are thinking, right? Well, I'm not going to see my civilization. Well, let me tell you something. If there are 21 civilizations or even 27, there's a very, very, very good chance that your civ will not be played at all. Okay? Because already with 18 civs, we have about 4 or 5 civs that are never played. If this number goes to 27, you're not going to be seeing a lot more civs than that. So I think it's an interesting problem to have. I don't actually know if there's any other competitive RTS games out there that have this kind of problem or had this kind of problem. But I think it's a very unique one and it's a very interesting one. Obviously, another solution is to just not do anything. Yes, AoE 2. Okay, for the 5th time, they're same civs! So yeah, I don't know if it's a problem that needs fixing, but I think it's a problem that potentially needs thinking. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be an interesting one. I think people, like at the competitive level, people will always play what's the, you know, what the best thing to play is, what the strongest thing is. But you see a similar thing in MOBA games, right? Where, you know, League of Legends. I'm not gonna talk about Dota because I don't play Dota. I played League of Legends and I watched League of Legends, and in League of Legends there's like fucking, I don't know, 150 heroes, right? And there's 5 different lanes. But realistically, there's about 10 heroes per lane that are constantly played, and the rest is just kind of down the shitter. Very rarely you see someone grabbing something different, right? It's more so people just playing things that think they're good or that think they're the best. And realistically, that's exactly what would happen in AoE4 if more civilizations were to be introduced. It wouldn't be the case of, oh, now you have more options. It's like, well, yes, but you're still gonna play whatever the best thing to play is. So that's it. That's kind of what I wanted to yap about. I'd love to hear your opinion. We'll discuss it now on Twitch a little bit too, but I'd love to hear your guys' opinion as well on them YouTubes. So if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Check me out live. I'm probably live right now. And I said this earlier because I recorded another video earlier, but over 50% of you dents are not subscribed. Come on. And I mean on YouTube, but also on Twitch. Just saying. If you're watching in the video form, thank you for watching. If you're watching live, let's keep going.